What is going on, everybody, and welcome on in to episode 200. I almost said 100. It's been a lot longer than that. 282 of the Garage Beers podcast, brought to you proudly here on the OBR streaming network. The Orange and Brown Report is the oldest, largest, and best Browns coverage site in all of Cleveland. So get over to the OBR.com and hit subscribe, as we are right in the heyday of Brown season, and there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about right now with the Browns, shockingly. So get over there and subscribe. And if you're watching us on the OBR's YouTube, Twitch, or if you're watching us on Garage Beers' YouTube, Twitch, wherever, make sure you subscribe, you follow, you like, and you do all that, as we've got a great, great show coming up for you tonight. With you, as always, I'm your host, Michael Keefe, and joining me in the garage are my two co-hosts. Out on the east side of Cleveland's Chad Meyer. Out in Seattle, Washington, it's Joey Whalen. Boys, how you feeling tonight?
What, Joey? Did you get any sleep?
I don't need sleep when we're playing like this, boys.
Oh, who needs it?
Okay.
Who needs it? Who needs
Many things to celebrate tonight, boys. Like the Gardos just being 9 outs away from taking a 1-game lead in the division. And also, Hazel took up pitching ever since she started this fall ball league. Tonight, pitched a 1-2-3 second inning. Let's go.
Bam.
Let's go. Come on.
Garage Beers Hayes.
Come on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fool him. Henry completely fooled him with a changeup. Yeah. All changeups.
Henry. Float it.
Yeah.
Float it. Boys, we got a great show. Again, later in the show, Cleveland Browns beat the Green Bay Packers in a very 2023 type fashion. We're going to talk about that game and discuss what that does to the outlook for us for the season. Again, we'll talk about other NFL things that went down, because there was some cool stuff that happened in the NFL this week. We'll talk a little college football, and there's some crazy stories in college football, so we'll get into that. But we're going to start things off. We've got a special guest. Once he pops in, we'll bring him in, but cannot wait for this. The Guardians currently in the 7th inning, up 3-1 over the Detroit Tigers. Chad, just to make a minor correction to you, because of the way the standings are, if the Guardians win tonight, they're essentially 2 games up on the Tigers with 4 games left to play, because if this thing ends in a tie, the Guardians have the tiebreaker. So if they win tonight, the Tigers are going to have to be 2 games better than the Guardians in the last 4 games of the season, where, remember, that's a bad start to the 7th inning, by the way, hitting Zach McKinstry. The Tigers end this series with the Guardians, 1 more tomorrow, and then they got the Red Sox, and the Red Sox are fighting for the playoffs. And not just that, but they're fighting for positioning. They are in a fight still. And so the Red Sox got stuff to play for. And the Guardians have the Texas Rangers, who, as of last night, were eliminated from playoff contention. So not to say that you can sleep on any team in Major League Baseball, but certainly the path is tougher forward for the Tigers, especially if they lose tonight, having to be 2 games better than the Guardians in the final 4. It's been awesome. It's been awesome, and we're going to talk about it with our special guest. He was the former general manager of the New York Mets. You can now find him on MLB Network. It'll be, when he gets here, it'll be Steve Phillips. So while we wait for Steve to come in, boys, why don't we do our Garage Beers of the Week? You can tell I need it. I'm nervous at this point. 3-1 is just not comfortable enough for me in the 7th inning. So let's do our Garage Beers of the Week. And Chad, why don't you kick us off? What are you drinking tonight?
Boys, oh, man. Special celebration beer tonight with the division lead. And then Hazel pitching at 1-2. I'm just in a celebratory mood. And I save these for special occasions, and it feels like tonight's just one of them. I have 2 more of these left in my fridge, and I'm about to drink one of them. It's our Worldwide Stout. It's an oldie but goodie. It's a Dogfish Head Worldwide Stout. It's falls somewhere between 15 and 25%. So who knows? By the time Steve gets here, I might be hammered. I don't know, because you only need one of these, and that's it. But yeah, Worldwide Stout. Whee!
I love it. All right, Joe, what about you? What are you drinking tonight?
I'm bringing back one as well that I originally brought on as an homage to the Brown season, but now it's that I'm always down for playoff baseball. That's what I am. This is 10 Barrel Brewing Company, Always Down, double IPA. It's phenomenal beer, 9%. It's quite tasty. I'm refraining from bringing the Mariners cups that I get from the games.
Thank you.
In this time of crisis, although the playoffs shake out the way they do, and we face Detroit in that first round, presumably to win that series, there's a series between Seattle and Cleveland.
Hey, listen,
Just saying.
don't start breaking up just because you moved to Seattle. Don't start acting like, I kind of like the Mariners. No, you don't
I
get
didn't
to
say
like
that.
the Mariners.
I said I want to see the Guardians play in Seattle.
Well, that would be cool. You get to go to the games.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, just real quick, did you get your ticket for Ohio State, Washington Saturday?
No, but they keep going down.
Well,
Yeah.
keep your eye on it.
Keep your eye on game time. Joe,
they were 140. They were 140 when I checked over the weekend.
Nice.
Do it.
Joey, what breweries do you miss in Nashville, if any?
None.
None?
Not really. I will say Tailgate is like one of the best like ambient like vibe places to go. Their beer is not astounding, but it's one of the coolest places to like drink a beer. That's okay. And then Southern Grist and that other one.
Yeah, Iris, Bearded Iris.
Bearded Iris, thank you.
Oh, so
those are phenomenal.
Yeah.
There are 146 for a ticket. Oh my
All right.
gosh, is that
Ohio
lower
State
bowl?
at Washington. Guys, I'm just going to bring it to me. I see our special guest is back here, so I want to end with mine and bring him in. But I'm going back to the brewery out in Sandusky. Clag. This is called Watch and Learn, he says. And again, just the artwork is great, and the beer is great. But it's less about the beer on this one, and it is more about the mug, because for tonight's show, Joe, courtesy of Joe, his groomsman gift at his wedding, I had to do the dugout mug. I got my beer in here. I can't really show it to you, but I'm drinking my beer out of a Guardians baseball bat tonight.
Let's go.
Guardians again, 7th inning, 1 out. Tim Herron pitching, runner on first. Guardians are up 3-1, so 8 outs away from taking a pretty big lead. I know it's only going to say 1 game, but it really is kind of like a 2-game lead with the tiebreaker in this divisional round. And let's bring him in to talk about it from MLB Network. Not many people know Major League Baseball more than this guy. He's been around it for a long time as a former general manager, and now you can just be entertained and informed all the time on the MLB Radio Network and kind of all over the place. Let's bring him in right now. Steve Phillips, welcome back into the garage.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me back again. And I'm gonna give you a number. Tell me what it means.
Okay.
All right. 2,125.
Ooh.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Think about it.
2,125.
How many days the Guardians / Indians have been better than the Browns?
No. But it's sort of, it has a football angle to it, as I heard you guys talking about the big matchup between Ohio State and Washington.
Great.
So yeah, 2,125. Now, is it making sense? Maybe what that is now?
This is going to make sense. I forgot where Steve Phillips is from.
Yeah. I just got it too. Is that the last time Ohio State beat Michigan?
The number of days that it has been since the Buckeyes have beaten the Wolverines.
That's it. Take his video out. He can only be a video. Please share his video out.
By the way,
there he is.
That's a large
big gulp. I brought the big gulp with me tonight.
Let's go.
Hey, listen, I've had this argument a bunch of times. I'll take losses to Michigan when they ended national championships, Steve. I will take that all day long.
We sort of looked at it like it was really a back-to-back national championship for us, because we won the year before and we beat you guys, and they won the championship. So it really kind of makes us the national champions in back-to-back years.
Well, you guys are like Auburn. You should start just hanging banners for national championships.
Yeah. By the way, hold on. I've got to assign where we're sending the video scouts for the Michigan this week. Where
hey, the second of that back-to-back doesn't have an asterisk on it.
That's right. Steve, man, thank you so much for joining us again. We're going to kind of live react as the game's going on, as we're all just kind of checking it on our phone and stuff. But again, right now the Guardians, 2 outs, top of the 7th, and Tim Herron's on the mound, runner on first base. They've got a 2-run lead. And what are you saying? What are you saying, Joe?
Tim Herron's no longer on the mound.
Oh, Hunter Gaddis is in. Okay. So Hunter Gaddis in. Guardians 7 outs away from, again, this just feels like such a big win, Steve. And we were talking about it a little bit before, because, yes, the Guardians are tied right now with the Detroit Tigers at the top of the AL Central. But because they own the tiebreak, if they win this game tonight, they're effectively up 2 games and going into the last 4. That's a pretty commanding lead, especially the way the Tigers are playing.
It is. I mean, the Tigers are just reeling right now. I mean, they start out it really is obvious. The Guardians start out every game trying to figure out what they're going to do to win. And the Tigers start out every game trying to figure out what's it going to be that's going to cause us to lose today. And it's always something. They're finding that thing every day. And it's such a negative mindset for them. And it's my Mets teams back in the day, we had a couple of September swoons where if we had won one game of our last 5, we would have been a 3-way tie in 98. And in 99, we slumped, and then we had to sweep the weekend series at the end of the year to even get into a tiebreaker against the Cincinnati Reds that year. And we went to game 163. Now, they don't have 163 anymore. We did 163 in Cincinnati, and Al Leiter threw a 5-0 shutout that night, and we advanced in the playoffs. But it's just when you start to slide like that, it's really hard. It's like a snowball rolling down a mountain that turns into an avalanche. And somehow you have to get below it and stop it and push it back up the mountain again. And think about how difficult that would even be. That's where the Tigers are right now.
Steve, before we get like too deep into like how the Guardians are playing right now, I'm really curious about this because I'm always a big proponent at the beginning of every baseball season, right? Of riding the ebbs and flows, not overreacting too much in April, May, right? I'm a huge proponent of that. But so the Guardians were 15.5 back in July, right? And I mean, they were 6 games under 500. And the talk is why doesn't Dylan spend more money? This team does this every year. They've been to the ALCS. But here they are on a major heater and probably winning the Central Division again. I guess my question is, when is it? I mean, and maybe you could answer this as a GM or just as an MLB Network radio host. When is the proper time to know what type of baseball team you have? Because I have no idea how to react to our teams all throughout the baseball season.
I mean, if you knew the number of teams that I proclaimed dead at some point this year, who are going to play in October this year, like the Arizona Diamondbacks are within a game of the Mets in that third wild card spot. We've got a chance in the final 2 weeks of this season to have all 3 American League East division leaders lose the foothold on the division. I mean, Houston lost it to Seattle. The Tigers are losing it to the Guardians. And now the Blue Jays are losing tonight. The Yankees are winning. And so they're going to be in a tie. Now, the Blue Jays do have the tiebreaker, but they've lost 5 out of 6. The Yankees won 9 out of 12. They feel like 2 teams going in different directions. We could truly end up with 3 different. I don't know. I mean, I'm supposed to know, and I can't tell you. The streakiness in baseball today is so substantial, and it's really hard to figure out. And here's the other interesting note. So the Tigers have gone 7-19 in their last 26 games. And the Guardians have gone 21-6 in their last 27 games. And they both have averaged 4.4 runs per game during their streaks. Each of them have the same run amount. Yep. And yet one's 21-6 and the other one is 9-17. And so it tells you the component of the game, the pitching where you've not given up it'll be now, 20 straight games where the starters have not given up more than 2 runs. You don't have to score a lot. You just have to score enough. And that's really what the Guardians are doing. And Detroit's not doing that with their pitching the way it is.
Steve, from your perspective, because you brought both of these things up, obviously now we're in a situation where they're using tiebreakers and they don't do game 163 anymore. You were GM in an era where there was game 163. The Guardians were in it. What year was that? Or no, they were in the first wild card. That was the weird wild card game. I forgot.
With the Rays?
That was the Rays. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we saw some crazy game 163s. Which one do you like better? Do you like game 163 better, or do you like the
for sure. Oh, for sure. I mean, it's like a built-in game 7, and in win in advance, lose and go home. We love those. And now, the issue is, do we love it enough to walk away from the 3-game wild card series, right? Because that was the trade-off, that because of the amount of time they have after the season to try to get the playoffs completed, they thought, we've got built-in days. We can go the wild card round to 3 games, But if we do it, we've got to eliminate game 163. And so that's the choice they made. I don't know why we can't do both. I would love to see the division series be a 7-game series too, just to take, sort of the crapshoot out of the playoffs, where, the more games that two teams play, generally the better roster will prevail. And so that's why I'd rather have 7-game series than 5-game series, and 5-game series instead of 3-game series, and 3 instead of 1. But there are some limitations on timing at the end of to get the playoffs completed.
Steve, you talked about, and we've talked about this run, and obviously it's unbelievable to us that have watched this team all year long. And I think it goes back to what we were talking about before. It was a struggle all year long for the Guardians pitching staff to get going. And that's what we rely on in Cleveland, because we know we're not going to be big bopper offenses, because that's just not how they're going to be able to be built. And the pitching staff, Tanner Bybee had himself a real struggle of a year, and Gavin Williams was very up and down. And obviously they've got the situation where now 2 of your guys, Luis Ortiz was supposed to be a big part of the rotation. Emmanuel Clase is gone for the gambling scandal and all that. But we're now at a point, I don't remember the exact numbers, and maybe one of you guys can correct me, but I think it's over the last 21 games or something like that, the Guardians have allowed 36 runs or something like that. The next closest team over that stretch is the Cubs at like 70. I don't know that I've ever seen a stretch like this, Steve, where it's just been this dominant.
Yeah, I bet you guys didn't see that one coming, huh?
No.
See what I
absolutely not.
See what I did there? I bet you didn't see that coming.
Stop it.
Wait, too soon? Wait, is it too soon?
Yes. Yes.
It's hard to know from the outside. We joke about it a lot, but I think it's kind of personal for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit.
This is healing it, though, Steve. This is
if we weren't in first place right now.
I mean, Cade Smith is the man. Like, he is legit. And you might even be better off with the bullpen the way that it is now, because he is so good. And they keep finding guys. They do a great job with the pitching and developing pitching and going about it this way. I've never seen. I mean, go back to, what was it, 2007? I guess it was, when the Rockies won 21 out of 22 to end the season, and then they got through the LCS, but then they swept it. They had to wait like 8 days to play, and it wiped out any momentum that they had. I think Stephen Vogt is, where he's the manager of the year last year, he's managing even better this year.
Yes.
I mean, I believe, after watching this a lot and being around it, teams take on the personality of their manager. And so the grit, the toughness, the relentlessness of it, the ability to not make it feel too big, to have fun with it. Like, that's how they play, and I also believe, by the way, that podcasts take on the personality of sort of the lead host of it. And for that, I'm sorry for you guys.
No,
Chad and Joe, I'm sorry for you guys. I mean,
that's why I only talk. This is my only hour and a half I talk to him the whole week, Steve. That's why.
He's so full of shit. All right, Steve, you're in here talking about Michigan. You're talking about, you're making jokes about gambling. You're bringing up 2007, like we're not just going to catch on how terrible that was for us back then when we had a 3-1 lead on the Red Sox in the ALCS and blew it.
That was that year.
Oh, yeah. You had no idea, did you?
Is that vodka in that Hopper House cup, Steve? Is that what that is?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, you texted me and say it's like guys sitting around drinking, and I thought, I know I'm going to need a lot with you guys, so I figured I'd partake.
Let's go.
Plus, this is the good stuff right here. So yeah, absolutely.
Let's go. All right.
I love it. Steve, just kind of around the league, one thing that kind of, if you look at the American League and you look at how it's all shaken out, one thing that has got to have people on pins and needles when it comes to just the way the playoffs in the league is shaken out is when the Yankees go into the playoffs as the hottest team outside of maybe the Guardians. You like to see the Yankees kind of limp into the playoffs, and right now it seems like they are playing kind of their best brand of baseball. Is that something that everybody in the American League should just be a little bit terrified of? Yeah,
I got to tell you that it's so funny because in New York, the people wanted to fire Brian Cashman, fire Aaron Boone, get rid of all of them. They're horrible. And I'm like, you guys went to the World Series last year. They want everybody fun. I'm like, you went to the World Series last year and and now here they are into a tie. And I think they're going to end up winning the division again. And so their starting pitching is lined up great right now. Fried's throwing the best he has. Rodon's throwing great. Luis Gil threw great against the White Sox. And Cam Schlittler, which is a very dangerous name to say. And so, if I drink any more vodka tonight, I'm going to have a tough time with that one. But I mean, he's been good, and they're starting to get the bullpen together. Devin Williams struck out the side the last time he pitched. Luke Weaver got the win yesterday. And so it looks like maybe the bullpen. Judge hit his 50th home run tonight. And by the way, 4 seasons of 50 or more home runs. He and Babe Ruth, right? I've done that. And, you go back to Sosa and those guys, but we know about that. But I mean, what Aaron Judge is doing is just remarkable to me. And so, I'm afraid the Yankees, they're still not a good defensive team. They're still not a good base running team, but they can outslug their mistakes, which will be inevitable. They'll make them, but they create enough margin for error with the power production, hitting the most home runs and scoring the most runs in baseball.
Joe, you just made a face. What'd you make a face about?
Tigers catcher just missed a pop-up behind home plate that was very catchable. But I think that's very interesting. That's also why I hope to see some type of rematch between the Guardians and Yankees in the playoffs. I think that the teams have a weird kind of competitiveness with how they're set up to each other, particularly just pitching on the Guardians side versus that powerhouse of an offense on the Yankees side. That ALCS last year was one of my favorite series I've watched.
Yeah.
So many dynamic games. Who outside the Yankees, though, are we feeling is kind of the team to beat in this playoffs?
Well, I thought Blue Jays. So I do a lot of work with TSN in Canada. So I follow the Blue Jays a lot. And they've got starting pitching, although, Scherzer's kind of got blown up. He didn't even blown up tonight, but he wasn't great tonight. Last time he gave up 7 runs in the first inning. He gave up 3 in the first tonight. But, with Shane Bieber there and with Kevin Gausman, they put Chris Bassett on the injured list. So I don't know whether he's going to be back for the playoffs or not back for the playoffs. They had moved Jose Barrios and Eric Lauer to the bullpen, and they've got Trey Yasevich, the young kid there. So they've got some decisions to make with their pitching. Their bullpen's is leaky, but they can score runs, and they're not scoring now. They need Bichette back. Bichette's injured. He is expected back for whenever they're eligible to play in the playoffs. And Springer's been good, but they've gotten a lot of contributions from guys. And if you have to go to Toronto, it's a tough place to play. Really tough place. And then Seattle, they had the best starting pitching ERA in baseball last year. And this year they're ranked like 16th or 17th with all the same young guys that we still, Logan Gilbert and Bryce Miller and Brian Wu. But they're starting to come together. The offense has come to life since they got Naylor, who's been fantastic. You guys know him. Eugenio Suarez, Julio Rodriguez has turned it on again. Seattle could be a scary matchup. Plus, traveling to Seattle is not an easy thing to do. And so, I think Blue Jays, Yankees, Mariners, feel like I think the teams to be most concerned about.
Steve, bring it back to the Guardians here. A couple questions, just kind of organizationally. Seems that there's a person that we should be talking about when it comes to the pitching staff, because the Guardians have been a pitching factory for a lot of years now, And Carl Willis has been a big part of that for a long time, the pitching coach. But as things were kind of going through, the Guardians right now, by the way, bases loaded, nobody out, bottom of the 7th. They brought back one of their all-time great pitchers in Corey Kluber and gave him a role trying to help develop and help the pitching staff as just kind of that. I don't know what his actual title is, some kind of pitching advisory role. And it feels like he's had a tangible impact on that. Like, can one guy coming in have that kind of an impact with the relationship Kluber has with the Guardians, his history here, and just his knowledge on how to pitch?
Yeah. So I had a chance to interview him, and I got to tell you, like, he's like, I would love he could actually be a guard at Scotland Yard. Like, he never smiles, right? Like we can't get him to smile, but like, he gets it and understands pitching. And I truly think that for instance, the Tigers don't have any experience on their roster. They don't have anybody who's been through it before. And then they go through this slide and there's nobody to lean on. The Reds don't really have anybody. I thought at the deadline, I think both those teams needed to bring in some experience. You can't just be the manager as the accountability partner for the players. Player-to-player accountability is way more impactful. And having a guy like Kluber there where he can talk from experience, where, he can say, when I went through this, this is what I thought. This is how I did it. Or I had a challenge the one year. I got too worked up prior to the game. I spent too much time thinking about it. I over-prepared, and it got me too hyped up. I need to back off. Having somebody who's been through that can make such a difference. And then talking about, it's one thing for Carl Willis to talk about the shape of a breaking ball or a grip on a ball. But for the guy who's been shaping it and gripping it over the last, 10 years, I think there's a real ability to have an impact there. And so I applaud, bringing in players like that who, are humble enough to accept that it's over for them. They're not trying to live through the other players to sort of rekindle their careers, but they truly want those guys to get better. And I think he's one of those guys.
So how much is I find that really interesting about saying, player to player accountability, so when it comes to a clubhouse, I mean, how much of keeping it loose, keeping it fun, is it between player to player accountability and the manager?
Yeah. So most teams, the manager's not in the clubhouse very much. He doesn't, he may pass through to go to the training room. But Jim Leland is a guy that tried to interact with every player during the course of a day. Like, he didn't go a day without at least having contact in some communication with everybody on his roster. But the managers don't hang out in the clubhouse. And what a lot of times when there's something to be addressed, a guy didn't get a bunt down, a guy didn't get the runner over, and it wasn't that he failed, it's that his approach wasn't good, right? He wasn't trying to hit it to the right side, or a guy didn't hustle down the line. Many managers will say to their team leaders, get him, talk to him, you got it. Because they understand that it's one thing when, the teacher goes and talks to you, but when somebody else who's your peer has some disappointment, it is much more impactful, because I don't want to let that guy down next to me. And, so I think that's something that the players, you need to have voices. The Cardinals had Pujols and they had Yadier Molina. And then, when Yadier Molina retired, they thought that even when they had Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado, they needed to bring Matt Carpenter in to be a leader, because those other guys don't really confront anybody. They'll be there to say, hey, pat them on the back, somebody, hey, keep it going. But that idea of having somebody to say, you got to run that ball out in that situation, and to be able to do it while maintaining a relationship and not tearing apart the fabric of the team is not always an easy thing to do. And not everybody has a feel for it.
So would it be fair to say the majority of the credit, like of this heater that the Guardians are on right now, is between the players as opposed to Stephen Vogt?
I think, look, this is how it works, right? The players get the credit, managers take the blame.
Gotcha.
And but I think that the manager's responsible for cultivating an environment of accountability and freedom, and the ability for guys to have space to be who they are, but also boundaries to be accountable to work ethic and preparation and all of that it sets those expectations through the coaching staff to the players, to the player leaders. And so everybody, here's the way I look at it. During the course of a season, everybody does something selfish. Everybody, manager, pitching coach, players, trainers. A reliever's mad that he's being overworked, or he's mad he's being underused. A position player is mad that he got a day off. Another guy's mad that he didn't get a day off. Somebody's mad they got pinch hit for, they got pinch run for. Like, there's always that moment where you get upset, and you're upset, but yet you won the game. And so you're not supposed to be upset. And how teams manage those moments of selfishness creates the chemistry for the team. Sometimes you stick your head in the sand. Sometimes you confront it in a way like, hey, dude, knock it off, man. We won today, so hang in there, get them tomorrow. Sometimes it's like, come here, come in the other room with me. We got to talk about this. And how that all gets managed creates that energy of accountability and friendliness and camaraderie that exists on a team. But everybody does something during the course of a year that's selfish.
Fascinating. I love that. I love
that. Steve, a couple quick questions before we let you out of here so you can go watch the rest of these games as playoff race is on. When you think about what is potentially on tap here, Jose Ramirez with a base knock. And so that'll score a couple of runs. And now the Guardians are going to be up 5-1.
He's the man, right? He is such the man. He is like
unbelievable.
He's so good. So good. Hall of Famer for sure.
Yeah.
And just a great player.
Sorry, I got distracted on my question. Steve, but I want to go to what you just said. You're a GM. Is he a dream? Oh. Is he a GM? Like when nobody in Cleveland thought Jose Ramirez was sticking around, right? We've had to deal with, it's the hardest thing about being a baseball fan in Cleveland, even though the team's always good, is your star players leave. That is what happens. We've seen it with all of them. Right. Going all the way back to Manny Ramirez. Your star players leave. Albert Bell. But Jose Ramirez, when he took that contract and said, I don't want to leave Cleveland. I'm good here. This is where I want to be. It does anything get, do you feel like you have to pinch yourself as the general manager the next day? Like, did that just happen?
So as a general manager, I think to myself, like, I love this guy. Like, he is, like, I love that attitude and everything else. Now, I will not ask him for financial advice because like, he could have made so much more money. So, like, I'm not going to ask him for that. But no, I mean, and it's not only that he's playing for maybe less than he could make, but it's the way that he plays. When your best player is the most prepared, cares the most, hustles the most, shows up and goes to the post every day, it makes it so much easier on a manager, because to every other player, you can say, you see that guy right there? You're not as good as that guy right there. You see how hard he's working? You need to work harder than him because you're not as good as he is. And it sets a standard. Like the Cardinals had that with Pujols. Pujols would be there at 3 p.m. on the field taking ground balls at first base every day. And it made it so much easier on Tony La Russa to hold everybody else accountable with it. Jose Ramirez is a dream come true as a person, as a citizen, as a teammate, as a friend, as a colleague. He's top notch. And he does it without the kind of protection that other stars do. And yet he still keeps getting pitches to hit and he never misses.
Never. Steve, my last question for you. When we look at this, and again, the Guardians are on the brink of a 1-game lead, which again is basically 2. If they can get 6 more outs against the Tigers with a 4-run lead here. When you look at this, I can ask you if you've ever seen anything like it, but we know we haven't, because erasing a 15.5 game deficit over the course of a season to win a division has never happened before. When you look at what they've done, and then you consider the circumstances, they go to the ALCS last year, Steve, and then this year they do what we dread, which is there goes Josh Naylor. They bring in some replacement pieces. Carlos Santana, who is very clearly well beyond any productive years in his career. They don't buy or anything at the deadline, and they go through like the gambling thing and all that. And all that happens. Where do you rank this? Like, where do you feel, how impressive, if you were to give this a 1 to 10, do you think this is for the Guardians?
Yeah, I mean, it's worthy of manager of the year and executive of the year stuff. I mean, it's unheard of. I mean, the Tigers last year with what they did, I kept saying to myself, like, it doesn't work this way. Like, you don't get to have one starter and a bunch of relievers that you run in and mix and match and everything else and sell at the deadline and then you make a run to the playoffs. Like, it doesn't work like that. With what the Guardians have gone through this year, with the losses that they had, with the selling at the deadline, with the gambling situation, those are all reasons that a team could crumble, right? And yet they overcame all of that. That's where Stephen Vogt is manager of the year. That's where, to be able to find a way to put all that stuff somewhere and not let it dictate what we think about ourselves, to not play the name game every time you look at the lineup on the other team that has Stanton and Judge and Jazz Chisholm and Cody Bellinger, where you start doing, okay, let's compare our guy to their guy, and it never matches up. And to still just go out and play and win those games, that's a manager working magic right there. You guys are so lucky because you went from Terry Francona, who's one of my favorites and one of the best managers, to Stephen Vogt, who's cut from the same mold. It really is amazing.
Yeah, unbelievable. Steve Phillips, this has been a blast. We really appreciate you taking the time to come in and join us to talk about the Guardians, especially with all your experience, man. I learned probably. I know you came in and gave me a little bit of shit on this, but on the show. I'm going to give you a little.
I gave you a lot of shit, actually.
Yeah,
yeah, it's all right. I'm going to give you a little positivity. I learn a whole bunch of stuff from you every time you do this, and we're really grateful that you say yes to come on and do this with us here on our show. Really appreciate it. And again, catch Steve, the leadoff spot, MLB Network Radio, and kind of TSN if you're up in Canada. It's great. Yep. Steve, thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure. Next year, it'll be about 2,500 will be the number I'm going to run at you guys. 2,500 for when the last time the Buckeyes have beaten the Wolverines.
We'll see you first week of December.
Go guys. We might have to have you on for just a Raz session before.
Then we'll show our second ring to you, Steve. How about that?
I'll come on beforehand, but I might not show up after this year.
All right, Steve. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Steve.
Hey, you know
what? Right off, Mike.
You know what? Hey. You know what? He deserved that from all the shit he gave us. He deserved that.
I don't know what just happened, but Steve was awesome, and a big shout out. And I was talking mostly about that little shot he took at me. The first of all, he called me the leader of the show. Forget that. But second of all, taking a personal shot. All right, Steve. All right. I can take it. I can take it. Guardians 2 outs in the 8th inning. As right now, Jacob Junis mowing him down.
Crazy.
Jacob Junis is mowing him down.
I hated him so much. Phil.
You were persistent. Him and Paul Sewald.
Because they both sucked. They both sucked for the majority of the year.
Well, we got rid of the worst one.
Yeah, now all of a sudden they're mowing him down. But what a conversation with Steve, man.
Yeah. I truly meant that. Like, I walk away feeling like, oh, I'm smarter about baseball now. I know more about baseball.
1,000%. Like, I didn't even care, right? Like, we all know why the Guardians have gone on this run. It's been the pitching and timely hitting. Like, I was curious about like the inner workings of like how you pull yourselves out of the rut that you're in. And like, yeah, that was great, man.
Yeah, he has so much interesting perspective just being in front offices and playing. And I love the way he talks about, you know, the relationships behind the scenes, because that's just something you just never get from watching a game of baseball. And it's really cool to see. Can we talk about that 3-1 inning last night?
Yeah, we will do that in a second. I just want to Jacob Junis just 1-2-3 the Tigers like it was nothing.
No big deal.
Nothing.
No big deal.
Mowed him down. All right, Guardians 3 outs away. Again, still got to win this thing. And you're still my paranoia about this whole situation, boys, and we are going to talk about last night too. But especially there was a lot to win on there. But my paranoia has been, if you'll remember last year, if you just kind of think back to last year, you'll think, oh, it was so much fun and the Guardians won the division and all that. But if you really remember last year, you'll remember that the Kansas City Royals came back and tied the Guardians in the season last year.
Yeah.
And it's been the thing that I haven't really wanted to talk about, because now the Guardians have made that push. You got to finish. I don't want to be the Royals.
Right.
You got to finish. And right now the Guardians, the way that they have just put their foot on the pedal and just pushed it. And they do not take it off. There are no off games with this team. They are playing playoff brand baseball. They might not score a ton of runs. They might not be big power, but they're playing small ball the right way. They are manufacturing runs, and this pitching staff is unbelievable. And it's just wildly impressive. Wildly impressive.
Can we also give a shout out to predictions from last week at this time? Because we talked about you need to sweep the Tigers. You need to win 3 out of 4 against Minnesota, and then ideally you sweep the Tigers next week too. And holy smokes, like, hello, we are knocking on the door of that prediction.
Yeah,
Elite Biscuits. I love your name. I love your YouTube name, Elite Biscuits.
And you wouldn't what you wouldn't have thrown in, right? Like, I was hopeful the Braves would go in and take 2 out of 3 from Detroit. I did not expect the Braves to go in and just dominate Detroit, just swept, gone.
No,
Like,
that game where they 2 outs in the 9th inning and they singled in a run.
Yes.
Unreal collapse from the Tigers there.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Don't take your foot off the gas now, right? I mean, baseball is so funky. Like the Tigers could just as easily go in and sweep Boston, and we could get swept by the Rangers, and it could be all over.
Yeah.
So do not take your foot off the gas now.
We are never good against the Rangers, and at any game we can get up and give a cushion to us going into that Ranger. I'm nervous as hell for that Rangers series.
Yeah,
I'm not nervous for the rest of this Tigers series.
No, Again, I think the Guardians and Joe, the Seattle team out there, it's going to be a tall ask, but I think the Guardians should still be playing for the 2 seed.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Is Paul Sewell on the Tigers? Like, is he pitching?
Yeah, he's pitching right now.
I didn't know that.
Here comes 4 more runs for the Guardians.
Is he combing his hair? Oh no, that's the comms. That's the comms.
I think the Guardians should still have their sights on the 2 seed. They are 3 games behind the Mariners, so it's virtually impossible for them. And the Mariners have the tiebreaker. But if and maybe last night was the night where this should have happened, because if you saw last night's Mariners result, the Mariners came back in wild fashion to beat the Colorado Rockies in the 9th inning, scored 3 runs in the 9th to win. But if the Colorado Rockies can take 1 game from the Mariners' last series is the LA Dodgers.
Yep.
And the LA Dodgers are also very much like the Red Sox in there's a hit. The LA Dodgers are in a dogfight. They're in a dogfight with the San Diego Padres for the AL West. And so the LA Dodgers are going to be coming in like guns a-blazing, needing to win those games against the Mariners. So I'm sitting here going, Colorado can get 1 game. The Mariners then got to take out the Dodgers. The Guardians just need to keep winning. If they just keep winning, there's a shot the Guardians can get up to the 2 seed.
There's a shot. And this is just so outside baseball, I just hesitate to take a bye for this team.
Yeah.
To have any break in this heater that they are on right now. I obviously, there's a probability that goes up when you don't have to play a first round.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, I just I feel I've never felt more confident at the team that could play in a wild card round than these guys right here. This is a team you do not want to face in the wild card because they're just so hot. The pitching's unreal. They're getting the hits when they need to. It's how do you want to you don't want to stop that.
It's almost though then that you pull for the Tigers a little bit at the end of the year, because if the Guardians can win the division, I would love to have the Tigers the first round. That would be special. That would be special.
That would be special.
That would be very
I
special.
would take them over the Astros any day.
100%.
Astros fan, but I think the Astros would give us a run for our money. The Tigers, they're just down bad.
Yeah.
Down bad.
Yeah. It'd be annoying, but I would like to see them.
Yeah. So again, we've got 2 outs, bottom of the 8th. Guardians are up there just hacking, but three outs away. So what is the feeling? How does the feeling change if they get this win? And again, they're up 1 in the standings, but truly up 2 games, because again, the Tigers would have to be 2 games better than the Guardians in the last 4 to come back and win the division. What's your feeling on just everything? The last 4 games. Where does your tension level go if they wrap up this win?
0. This team, I said it last week, the best path for them is to win this division. And they are in a position to do so. All I care about is that magic number, which will be 3 after this game.
Yep.
That's all that matters. That wild card round is so messy, or that wild card race is very messy. Houston is now outside of that. You obviously have Boston and Detroit that are all going to be slugging against each other this weekend. I just want to stay. I want to stay in front. And I think that 2-game lead is going to be more than enough against that with that Boston series coming up for Detroit. I do not like that we're facing the Rangers for the last game or last series of the year, because we are just historically a 450 team against them. Where you just can't beat the Rangers. But I feel good. Temperature's cooling. Blood pressure's dropping a bit.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Well, we're going on to the ninth inning. The Guardians up 5-1 over the Tigers. And man, this was the game, by the way, guys. This was the one I was like, please just get this one. And give because then tomorrow you still want to win tomorrow. But I feel like if you get this one, you take the life out of the Tigers too, because then you've won the game against Skubal, and then you win this game against Flaherty, and you just take the life out of them, and that's what they're on the brink of doing. But I really did not want to go into tomorrow's game being down 1 to the Tigers going into those last 3. So they're on the verge of it. Really quickly, I do want to go back to last night's game. By the way, the Cleveland Guardians have beat Tarek Skubal, or won games that Tarek Skubal has started twice in a week, which is outrageous. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about that inning, guys. That was I don't know that I've ever been more surprised by anything than when Tarek Skubal hiked the ball.
He had him
into right field.
Yeah,
he had him. He had time to turn and throw.
Torkelson was going to punt it, but I mean, I guess that's what.
That was an insane. If that landed, it would have been the coolest play ever. But I mean, that's the young player in Skubal coming out a little bit. It doesn't show often, and he's a phenomenal baseball player. But I think that's maybe just the only crack of immaturity I think I've ever seen out of him.
Yeah, right.
I've
never seen him do anything stupid before, ever.
That was so unnecessary.
So unnecessary. He had time to pick the ball up, turn and throw, and what a gift that was.
Well, and man, Tarek Skubal's a guy that you just like. I want to hate him, right? I want to hate him. I don't hate him at all. I love him. God, why does he have to play for the Tigers? There was obviously
he won't after next year.
Well, that's fair. But then I might hate him when he goes to the Yankees. Right? Be like, okay, I kind of.
But even his like his reaction to the David Fry situation, it's like, how do you hate that guy? He's just like, he's beside himself, and clearly that got in his head a little bit with the other two batters. But like, good guy, Tarek Skubal.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, I was going to bring up the David Fry incident where Fry bunted a ball into his own face. And that's tough, man. And then the news came out today that, like, he basically shattered his face, which is luckily he doesn't need surgery. Luckily, it wasn't anything like more significant than what it was, but broken nose, several broken bones in his face. David Fry, man, really tough scene last night. Really tough scene. And obviously, Tarek Skubal displayed a lot out on the field, but I think that's just a cool story. And maybe I'm just doing my cheers of the week early, but
yeah,
I was going to cheers Tarek Skubal, which is weird. But the story after the game, he caught a ride with Stephen Vogt. Stephen Vogt drove him to the hospital to see David Fry.
Wow.
And to visit him, to check in on him. I guess several of the players went to check in on him, make sure he's doing okay. Fry's at home now, so he's fine. He's just got a broken face. But I mean, the story of Skubal hitching a ride with Stephen Vogt, the Guardians manager, to go see Fry in the hospital, I think that's really cool. Like, how do you hate a guy? How do you hate the guy? Stop being nice and shit and start being a dickhead so I can hate you.
You fucking class act, you. The hell.
All right, so Guardians are, again, just moments away from wrapping up this victory. We'll say it when it happens. But, guys, let's get into our Asshole of the Week segment where we talk about somebody who just kind of been an asshole this week. Just been an asshole. And does anybody have one locked and loaded, ready to go? All right, I do. My asshole of the week. My assholes of the week, and this is more of a funny one than anything, but my assholes of the week are the people that thought they were getting raptured this week.
Oh, man.
This was my absolute favorite story from the entire internet this week. Was some guy in like South America or South Africa just came out online and said, like, oh, the rapture's happening 9/23. If you're unfamiliar with the rapture, it means, like, I guess Jesus is coming back and like taking all the Christians to heaven and leaving everybody else.
Nice.
And all these people bought into it. It's like the 57th rapture that I can remember. All these people bought into it, and now that the internet and like TikTok is so like prevalent, holy shit, is this shit funny? There were people giving you like step-by-step tips on like how to be raptured.
Oh,
And like what you do if you're raptured
from experience,
but also like what you do when you start to see people around you just starting to float up into the air, and how you should react. I also loved the videos of people kind of like. There was a guy that made a video that was like, I got questions about this rapture. Question number 1, it's happening right in the middle of the playoff push in baseball. So I need to know what happens if there's a runner on third base and all of a sudden the pitcher gets raptured. Is that a balk? Is that a balk? Should it be a balk? Or what about bottom of the 9th inning and it's a tie game and the hitter mashes what is a clear home run, like the longest home run of all time, but then the right fielder just gets raptured in the middle of it and catches it on his way up. What does that do? How does that count? How does that work?
You know what's going to happen, right? You know what's going to happen? It's going to be Game 7 of the World Series. The Guardians are going to be up 4-2, like with 2 out in the 9th.
And rapture.
And rapture.
Yeah.
Rapture.
Brian Shaw, rain delay. Rapture.
Yeah. Goodbye. Goodbye. I wish freaking.
There's just gonna be one. There's just gonna be one Guardian left. Who's it gonna be? Who's the heathen? Who's the heathen on the Guardian?
Who's the heathen? Let's see.
The heathen.
I think it's probably going to be John Kenzie Noel.
Oh wow! I don't know why you said that. I was gonna say maybe.
Well, you gotta save
Hedges.
Christmas. You gotta save Christmas.
I was thinking Hedges too.
I was gonna say Hedges. Heathen Hedges. But I don't know.
I don't know. See, I like to think in my head like. when I think of God and like Jesus, I like to kind of go Talladega Nights with it. Like I like to think like God's just sitting up there around like a big bonfire drinking beers. Like you get up there and he's just like, here, hey, you want some? Like he's just a big ball buster.
That's my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
listen, there's cornhole over here. My son's a fucking ringer. Like
it's all right, but whatever you're drinking, he'll put alcohol in it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know. Rapture. I didn't think I was getting taken anyways, but a lot of people didn't. I was kind of hoping some people would get taken, but
I didn't think I was getting taken.
No, I thought I was taken. I just
God, I have a particular set of skills. Skills
right,
that make
who are
me a
your
nightmare
assholes
for
of the week?
people like you.
Chad, who's your asshole of the week?
I don't have one, but I'm just going to do my cheers. And I was going to say cheers to us not getting raptured. Like cheers to all of us being here. It's pretty
Hell
sick.
yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Look, Chef Brian K. Chef Brian K. is still here in the comments. Hell yeah. He goes, oh, it might be real. The rapture might have happened. I'm still here. Yeah, I know. That same thing. Sean, your buddy Sean, has an asshole of the week. Did you guys see this video? The Michigan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What a.
Yeah, this big lineman, they were like, he like pancaked. He like gave a good block, pancaked the guy. And then he stood up and then just like frog splashed him on the ground and it fractured the kid's spine.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Outrageous. That's a good asshole of the week, Sean. Good one.
Yikes.
Joey, what about you?
I don't really have one either. How can you have one when the Guardians are playing like this, when the Browns are playing like that? I mean, hockey preseason started. That matters, but like hockey's around the corner. Like, there's a lot of good things going on. It's a good time.
I agree. My asshole of the week came to me while we were in the middle of the show, and I was like, that'll be mine, because I didn't think of one either, because I'm in too good of a goddamn mood. This is great.
It's great.
This is great. You know what? You guys are assholes. I'm an asshole. We are the assholes of the week. That's how we're going.
God, return my daughter now, and I will not look for you. I will not find you.
It smells like Greg Cardinal in here.
But if you don't return her, I will find you, God, and I will kill you.
Guys,
2-game lead.
The Cleveland Guardians. The Cleveland Guardians have taken down the Detroit Tigers tonight. 5-1 final score. Back-to-back nights, they have beaten Tarek Skubal and John Flaherty. Flaherty looked really good, by the way, tonight.
You guys are liars. Kate Smith's still pitching.
How about that Valera home run tonight, by the way?
Oh,
it was gorgeous. Gorgeous. Anyways, Guardians officially up 1 in the standings, but with the tiebreaker, they're up 2 with 4 games to play, and the Cleveland Guardians are on the verge. Like, if they win tomorrow, the Cleveland Guardians are going to be, the magic number will be 1.
Yeah.
And they'll be on the verge of wrapping up the AL Central. And I don't know.
Guys, the Guardians just won 5-1. Kate Smith just grounded out. And Dinkler just, did that happen already? Oh, I was behind you. I'm sorry.
It's a wild thing that I cannot wait. I'm hoping at this time next week we're talking about the Central Division champion Guardians, and I cannot wait to talk about it next week. Guys, let's move on. Back part of the show, there's a few things I want to talk about. Let's move to the Cleveland Browns, boys, because man, oh man, what a year it has been already. They blow the game week 1 against the Cincinnati Bengals. They look a lot like last year's team week 2 against the Baltimore Ravens. And then last week, this last Sunday, they go out against the Green Bay Packers, a team that destroyed the Detroit Lions week 1, a team that dominated the Washington Commanders week 2, a team that everybody was talking about as a Super Bowl favorite through 2 weeks of the season. And the Cleveland Browns welcomed the Green Bay Packers in, and they beat them. And offensively, it wasn't pretty, and they've got a lot of work to do on the offensive side. Defensively, it was as dominant of a game as you're going to see. It was unbelievable what they did to Jordan Love and the rest of the Green Bay Packers offense. They were miserable out there. And Andre Schmidt comes back and redeems himself from week 1. And not only does he redeem himself, but then he kind of makes everybody feel bad. Not that it's his fault, but we learn the story of Andre Schmidt. We learn the story of how he lost his mom suddenly just a month or so before the season started. And he's still coping with that brain aneurysm. And he's still coping with it. And this kid comes out ice water in his veins and bangs through a 55-yarder to beat the Green Bay Packers. Boys, what a story. I mean, what a win. What a win. What a story. Chad, I know you've kind of come in with some trajectory arguments you've wanted to have, and we'll go there. But just let's talk about the win for a minute. Before we talk about what it means, just talk about the win and what we saw out of the Cleveland Browns. Joe.
Did you just ask Chad?
Listen, I don't know what this means. Like, I don't know what this means. It's nice.
I said, let's not talk about the trajectory. Let's just talk about the game, you assholes.
God, we're all drunk.
Are you not listening?
Listen, it means a lot. It means a lot to get that monkey off their back, right? I mean, it's kind of gonna be the story. If the Browns are gonna win games this year, this is gonna kind of be the story of it. It's gonna be defense, it's gonna be special teams, and it's gonna be ugly ass offense. Right, until we get maybe Dylan Gabriel in there, until we find a quarterback that is able to operate this offense efficiently, until we find an offensive line that can pass protect, that can run block consistently. It's the offense. This is going to be the story of this offense. So, I don't know. I wish I had some in-depth analysis for you, right? But like that game is literally how I envisioned at the beginning of the year for the Browns season. It is literally how I envisioned that if they were going to win games this season, that is exactly how I thought they were going to win them. Right? You get a big turnover, right, from Grant Delpit late in the game, right, and to put the offense in incredible field position. And even the most basic bitch NFL offenses can score a touchdown when you start with the football at the 3-yard line, right? And then in typical, like when the Packers just drove the ball down the field and got into well within field goal range, I mean, it was a typical Browns thought process came back, right? It was like, oh yeah, they're totally going to make this field goal. I did not expect them to block it, right? Like field goal blocks in the NFL don't happen that often. We had like 17 of them last week in week 3, but they got the block. They got the plays when they needed to, and Joe Flacco was able to orchestrate a couple of plays to get in within field goal range to give Andre Schmidt a shot. And, you knew Andre had that type of leg, right? Being a 61-yard field goal in the UFL. Doesn't matter what league you kick a 61-yard field goal in. It's still awesome. So it was well within his range, and he nailed it. You had a chance. I had no idea that he lost his mother until after that game, but he had a chance to nail it, and he drilled it. So, Yeah, it is literally exactly how I envisioned the Browns winning games this year if they were going to win. So, yeah, good, awesome. I love the fact that we're 1-2 now instead of 0-3.
Man, if this offense could just put up 20 points and minimize turnovers, this team it's a different conversation. I sadly think that's out of the realm of possibility right now for this offense. But a couple positives. I mean, Quinshon Judkins with a full week of practice was a different animal, and he is a hard, aggressive, take it to your face runner that has a lot of speed that can go on the outside. He is very fun to watch. You could tell he definitely missed some blocks and assignments during the pass game, things that he'll clean up. But for being with the team for 8 days, pretty good second game. Defense is just unreal. I mean, that is the make or break. It's not a make or break. That is the constant of this team. And, with an offense like the Packers, who has been incredibly balanced and can hit you from the run, can hit you from the air, for them to come out like that is just a shocking statement by this defense, and it's a good kind of measuring stick to see what this team is capable of. I still think there's harder games on the schedule for the Browns, particularly next week. But,
this week, yeah.
But it was really good to see that team come together for the win.
Can I say something with the way that with the way this offense is operating right now? Honestly, with the way this offensive line is blocking right now, I would rather have PJ Walker in there than Joe Flacco. I would 1,000% rather have PJ. Well, because at least he could move. With how much Joe's getting pressure right now, at least PJ could move.
Yeah, and it's not going to be easier. Again, DeJuan Jones out for the year. And then, man, I always want to say nice things about Jack Conklin because he seems like a nice guy. And he's not done anything to warrant any kind of hate. But I will tell you, man, gets a little bit old year in and year out to have these injuries where it's like, oh, Jack Conklin's practicing. Things are looking okay. And then it's like, oh, but he's not going to play. I don't know that I've ever seen a player have so many injuries that you think are going to maybe keep him out 1 or 2 weeks that keep them out 6 than Jack Conklin. And now we need him, man. Jack Conklin has to play. He's got to, if there's something, I never advocate for fighting through a serious injury or whatever. But man, if this is a soreness injury, if this is a just kind of a minor thing that they're trying to just get him healthy from, you got to throw him out there. He's got to be playing. You got to play through injury, and we can't be doing that anymore. We cannot be doing that stuff anymore. I will say this. Even though people will say this offense is as bad as last year's, I will say I don't think that's necessarily true. Last year's offense were the kings of 3 and outs, and even with Flacco not playing particularly well, and the wide receivers not coming through at all. Jerry Jeudy 1 catch in the game against Green Bay. This is a team that's still they're putting together a few first downs on every drive. And maybe it results in punts, and maybe not every drive. They certainly have their 3 and outs like every team does, but they're giving the defense at least a hot minute where last year was it was 3 and out back on the field, 3 and out back on the field, 3 and out back on the field. Again, the Ravens game was different. The Ravens game, the offense destroyed the team because not only were they terrible, and it pisses me off because every other team the Lions play the Ravens defense looks terrible. The Bills play the Ravens defense looks terrible. There's going to be a lot of teams that do all right against the Ravens defense, but we make them look like they have 15 guys out on the field at all times. But this was kind of in response to the question Sean put in the comments that said, do we think the defense will be able to sustain through the whole season if there isn't a lot of offensive production? If the offense can put up some first downs, even if they're not necessarily scoring a ton, yes, I think the defense can sustain. If the offense doesn't turn the ball over a lot, then I think the defense can sustain. If the offense does what they did in the Ravens game, no, the defense cannot sustain because they're not given a chance. They're not given a chance. Offensively, though, guys, there is this glimmer of hope that I have. There's this glimmer of hope. And his name is Quinshon Judkins. It was one of the best running games for the Cleveland Browns over the last 2 years.
Didn't have it last year.
Right.
Now we're
And again, it wasn't a big crazy game, but all of a sudden it felt like for the last 2 years with the Cleveland Browns, last year,
that's 3.
and now
You
this
can
year.
say, never mind, 2 years. You're right.
Yep. Well, I mean, Nick Chubb didn't play 2 years ago.
He played 1 week 2 years ago, 1.5
Yeah.
months.
But for the last couple of years, guys, it's felt like the run game is not going to contribute to the success of the offense, and it's going to happen in the passing game. A couple of years ago with Joe Flacco, it did happen. Last year, it certainly did not happen. But now it all of a sudden feels like there's a run game to be had. It feels like we've got a guy back there with fresh legs ready to go and Quinshon Judkins that can make plays. And I'm going to tell you, that will open things up for this offense. That will open things. That, like, to me, continuing to ride Quinshon Judkins feels like the key to the offense for the rest of the season. If they can really turn themselves into a productive running team, then I think they're going to turn themselves into a productive offensive team.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's what the Browns have been lacking is a balance to their offensive game, because either we're already so far behind where we have to throw the ball, or just the run isn't working and we have to throw the ball. And if you can have a threat on the ground, that's where Kevin Stefanski's offense is really good, because then you have the play action in play. You can do some really interesting schemes to throw the defense off. And your throwing or your passing can be much more effective than it is when that's what the defense knows you're doing. 2 out of 3 downs, you're on the field.
Yeah, if it's consistently able to get going, then yes, it should open things up. Will it? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. With the way Jerry Judy's catching the football,
or not.
Yeah, or not. Isaiah Bond. We talked about it on Spaces, Mike. I like the idea behind him. He's got the speed to be able to stretch the field, but that's what this offense is predicated on. It's a good running game and play action passing to take shots down the field. Do you want David Njoku and Harold Fannin to be those guys to stretch the field? No, because they, as good of athletes as they are, they're not the guys to stretch the field. That's where we need like a good group of receivers to be able to do that. So,
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, it'll be encouraging for sure. It'll definitely open things up. I will say that. I will say that it definitely opens up the possibility to at least being able to score 20 points if they're able to do that. So, I mean, we'll see.
Now, I will say this. I want to go to this for a minute, and then we'll go to this week's game against Detroit. I've always stood up a little bit for Andrew Berry and his draft classes, because Andrew Berry's always been good at pulling draft picks from different rounds of the draft, and he's much better in the draft than people give him credit for. Jed Wills was his first ever draft pick. That's a miss. It's also his first ever draft pick. People want to act like Greg Newsom's a miss. Greg Newsome is not a miss. Greg Newsome is playing good football again this year. And he's kind of showing you like maybe Greg Newsome can be your outside corner outside of Denzel Ward, because he's been really good this year. He has found a lot of players in the mid rounds of the draft that have been really solid contributors to the football team. Having said that, boys, this draft, it's one of the, this might be like the best draft you could possibly have. Again, we don't know about the quarterbacks, but when you factor in Mason Graham was unbelievable in this game against the Packers, unbelievably good. Mason Graham put up numbers, pass rush numbers against the Packers that, like, I want to say the average pass rush win rate for a defensive tackle in the NFL is 9%. And Mason Graham's was 46.
Yeah,
he was
quadrupled. Yeah, it did. Yeah,
they absolutely. I could say this with infinite percentage confidence. They hit on Mason Graham. They absolutely hit on Carson Schlesinger. That dude is a star linebacker. Immediately, they hit on Quinshon Judkins. They hit on Harold Fannin. Shit, I think they hit on Dylan Sampson. You just got to see him out there a little bit more. Again, we don't know about the quarterbacks, but, like, boys, this draft class is wild. It's wild. This is a wild draft class to just hit on all these players.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking at Mason Graham and Carson Schwarzenegger alone. I mean, it's like you added bullets to the Gatling gun that is this defense, right? I mean, it's just that many more weapons. This defense is going to be a treat to watch all year.
Yeah, especially with those defense picks. It's like that's always kind of the carousel we have with the defense. Is you have Myles Garrett, you have JOK, but there's always like some filler that goes into those positions. And the fact that we got the filler this year from draft and they are like actual additions to the defensive line and linebacker squads, like that's exciting. And this is their first year. Like they have room to grow. They are not their best players yet. So to see them come out as strong as they have already, it's just a really good and encouraging sign.
Extremely good and encouraging. And then when you look at the trade that they made with the Jaguars for Travis Hunter, and I know people are kind of already giving Travis Hunter shit, but he's going to grow into a good player. Like
he has just like the longer grow time for what he's doing what nobody does in the NFL. And there's time that needs to happen before he finds his groove.
Yeah, but he's a baller. Like people are getting a little too crazy being like, well, the Browns clear like won that. I might agree that the Browns won the trade in terms of the fact that out of that trade, they got Mason Graham, they got Quinshon Judkins, and they got Dylan Sampson this year, and they got a first rounder next year out of that trade. So I can agree with that. I'm just not going to put it on Travis Hunter. I think he's still going to be a good player, but still a really good move. So boys, all this being said, Cleveland Browns, Detroit Lions. If you watch the way Detroit played, the way Detroit played against the Baltimore Ravens, holy shit.
They're angry.
They're not happy.
They're going to pose some problems. Having said that, I'm not walking into this doing this automatic loss thing again. We just beat a Green Bay team that absolutely spanked the Detroit Lions week 1. Detroit comes at you in a lot of different ways. They are aggressive to the max. I mean, Dan Campbell is the most aggressive coach in the NFL, and that is the way he coaches his team offensively and defensively. You've got the two-headed monster running back, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, who, God, they killed Baltimore last week. You've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta out there, all as pass-catching threats. Amon-Ra St. Brown is awesome. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL, easily. Right. And then on the defensive side, you've got a good offensive line in Detroit. Defensively, we're talking about Aiden Hutchinson, not to be confused with Aiden Huntington, who plays for the Browns. And you've got a crew of really good defense. You've got a good selection of linebackers, and they can be hurt a little bit in their defensive backfield. They're not great in the defensive backfield, but it's a really, really talented Detroit Lions team. And for the Browns to kind of pull the same thing they did with Green Bay and surprise and come away with a win, again, they're going to have to play mistake-free football, no turnovers. They're probably going to have to force a mistake or two out of the lines, which they don't make a lot of. But it's going to have to be a pretty perfect game plan for the Browns if they're going to come out of Detroit with a win.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, as much praise as this Packers team's got going into the game with the Browns last week, like I think that this Lions team is just so much more versatile and dynamic, and they have such a unique element of surprise with the play calling that they are infinitely more dangerous than the Packers. I think a win for the Browns is keeping them to no more than 2 touchdowns. I don't know if that's possible against this Lions team.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But if you can keep them to 2 touchdowns, X factor field goals, there's a chance they can be competitive in this game. So I'm going to throw it in at a nice and easy, breezy 20-17 Lions.
You have to, like, I don't think it's a question. You have to force some turnovers against the Lions if you have a chance. Because if you let this Lions offense sustain drives, if you let them get into a rhythm, which you won't, I mean, it's a good offensive line, but this Browns team has to get pressure. They have to force turnovers, because time and time again. How many times do you see if Jared Goff has time back there, he will pick any defense apart.
Yep.
He will pick any defense apart, right? And then this is the first of like 3 potent offenses you're going to face this year, right? You know, Jamison Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Sam Laporta are not Matthew Golden, are not, you know, Dontavian Wicks, and they're not Tucker Kraft, right? They are much better, right? I think this is going to pose, you know, Denzel's going to lock down whoever he's on. I get that, but you know, I think between Greg Newsome or between Sam Laporta and Jamison Williams, it's going to pose a problem for the rest of the Browns secondary. So it is imperative you force a turnover or two and you constantly are in the face of Jared Goff. Because if not, I think this is a 27-13 Lions victory. If you're able to do that, I think this can be a 17-14 Browns win.
The Browns, you know, I think we've talked about it before, but to me, the name of the game is disciplined defense for the Cleveland Browns, because one, you can't overdo things in trying to get to Jared Goff, because Jahmyr Gibbs is a premier running back in the NFL, and David Montgomery's no slouch either. He is really good, as he showed you in the Baltimore game. But what you have to do is figure out a way to not let the running game gouge you, but also sell out as much as you can to pressure Jared Goff. Like, to me, that's the entire key to this game. Jared Goff is one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL when pressured. He is terrible when he feels the pressure. He has been like that his whole career.
Right.
And it's no different now. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL every time they give him time. When they give him time to find those guys that find their way open, Jared Goff is as good as it gets. And it's wild to say that, but that is the numbers back that up. So the key for the Browns is you have got to figure out a way to get all over Jared Goff's ass the entire game. You have got to be. You sacked Jordan Love 5 times last week. You got to do at least that again this week.
Yeah.
But you've got to do it while also not letting Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery go crazy, because you're so tuned in to trying to sack Jared Goff, that you're forgetting about the run game, because they'll kill you that way too. I think the Detroit Lions are really good. I don't think in any way, shape, or form they're unbeatable.
Yeah. On
the other side of things, the pass rush is going to be a problem. And the Browns, who knows who's playing at tackle? I mean, you're going to have Cornelius Lucas out there and KT Leviston, or maybe this new guy that just brought in from the Patriots or whatever. The Browns have got to figure out a way to give Joe Flacco a hot second to throw the ball, and Quinshon Judkins has to have a game. I am not going to pick the Browns to win this game, but I do think it's going to be close. I feel like the Browns offense could look a little bit better than it has, but I think this is like a 24-21 kind of game, 24-20, something like that, where the Lions win it. I think it's going to be close because I think this defense, listen, the thing with the Browns too is it's all about turnovers offensively. If the Browns don't turn the ball over, the defense is going to keep them in the game.
Yeah, for sure.
You'll look back at the score to the Ravens game and you'll go, oh, it was 41-17 or whatever. The Ravens blew out the Browns. No, the fuck they did not. That game was close all the way throughout until the Browns decided to turn the ball over, give the Ravens a fumble recovery for a touchdown. The Ravens started 2 drives inside their own 10 in that game. If the Browns are going to do that, if the offense is going to just set the defense up to fail, then you're right, Chad. It's going to be 30-10 and it's going to suck. But if the offense can just protect the football and move it a little bit, I think the defense keeps them in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think they do. I at this moment in time, I just do not trust this Browns offense to score touchdowns. I just don't.
Fair.
It's very fair. It's very fair. Which guy? That's got to be the conversation in the locker room, though. We talked a lot with Steve Phillips in baseball about player-to-player accountability. Well, here's some player-to-player accountability. Which guy's going to be the guy on offense that scores some fucking touchdowns?
Yeah.
Like that needs to be the conversation.
Right.
Like with the offensive staff in the wide receiver room. The wide receiver coach needs to look at those guys and go, which one of you idiots is going to be the one that starts to score some touchdowns?
Yeah.
Which I love Harold Fannin and I love David Njoku. Which one of those two guys is going to be the guy that starts scoring some touchdowns? That the accountability has to happen because I agree with you, Chad. Joe Flacco has to be better.
Yeah.
But like Joe Flacco threw a pass, and I know it was flagged for a pass interference. But Joe Flacco threw a pass that Jerry Jeudy should have caught for a touchdown.
Yeah.
It bricked off both of his hands, which have been like bricks this year. Right. I don't want to go too hard on Jerry Jeudy because I think he is capable of turning it around and having a good season. But he's been dog shit to start. Which guy is going to be the guy that just makes plays?
Yeah.
That's where the accountability needs to come in because maybe Myles Garrett needs to be the guy that walks into the offensive room and goes, hey, which one of you guys is going to be the one that starts making plays? Because we're doing it. We're making plays. Where are you guys at?
Put Miles on the goal line. Give him a Mike Vrabel role.
Oh, he would score such a touchdown. He would score touchdowns.
Yes, he would.
I don't want to make it. I don't mean to make it negative. I do think the Browns have a chance in this game against Detroit. I'm not going to pick them to win it.
No.
Being in Detroit, too, I think hurts. But I do think they have a chance to win this game. And I think it just comes from building off of what they started in this Green Bay game. You play the same way defensively. You play the same way offensively as far as protecting the ball. I know Joe Flacco had the pick right before half, but it didn't matter. And you get that running game going, and you build upon what you started in the Green Bay game, and I think you can win this game against Detroit. And I don't know. It should be
score
really
some touchdowns. And score some fucking touchdowns.
Well, right. That's the build upon part. That's the build upon part.
Right. Right.
By the way, we brought this up earlier, guys. I've never seen anything like what I saw this week in the NFL.
No.
The Cleveland Browns blocked the kick. Shelby Harris. I had no idea Shelby Harris was the one that blocked it, by the way. I thought it was Denzel Ward because he got a great jump, and I thought he blocked it. It was Shelby Harris. And then a minute later, was it the Jets that did the first one? The Jets block a kick against the Buccaneers. The Eagles block a kick. The Jets return it for a touchdown. The Eagles block a kick against the Rams, return it for a touchdown. But that all happened within like a span of like 4 minutes.
I wish I was watching Red Zone during that. That's the only thing I wish I had Red Zone for was like that 4 minute stretch.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. Sorry, Chad.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to maybe throw something in there.
Nah.
Do a little shift.
Yeah. What? Chad's like, what is this podcast? I don't want to talk.
Yeah. No. What are we doing here?
I don't want to talk. Forget that. No, that was wild. No. I do want to give credit. I'm going to give credit to something here really quick to somebody.
You don't sound happy.
No, I'm not happy only because I hate the way people talk about this in Cleveland. It drives me nuts. I want to give a little shout out to Baker Mayfield.
Oh boy.
Oh.
my man.
I love Baker.
I don't know that Baker. I still don't know that I believe Baker Mayfield is a guy that can win a Super Bowl. I don't
think so
that.
either. Yeah.
However, and again, what drives me nuts about the Baker conversation is everybody looks at what he's doing in Tampa now and they act like that's what he was doing in Cleveland, and it's not by any stretch what he was doing in Cleveland. So we have this like revisionist history, which fucking drives me nuts. But the fact that Baker Mayfield has turned into a guy, I remember it was one of my biggest knocks on him when he played in Cleveland was, God damn it, if the Browns are down by less than a score and they get the ball at the end of the game, he's not going to take us down and win the game.
Right.
He does not lead game-winning drives. And he didn't. I know he had a couple, but for the majority of his career in Cleveland, that dude never led us on game-winning drives. He always made one stupid pass that wound up for an interception, and that was game over. The other team would come out and kneel it. That was Baker. So I want to give him credit because Baker is Mr. like fourth quarter game-winning drives guy now.
Yeah. Yep.
When the Bucs get the ball in like a tie game or they're down by 1 or 2 or whatever, again, the Jets block a kick late in the game to take the lead in that game. And what does Baker Mayfield do? Leads the Buccaneers down the field for a game-winning field goal like it's nothing. And I just want to give him a shout out. That guy has turned
right.
he's turned into a fourth quarter like clutch player.
All
And he
right.
was not that here, but he certainly is that in Tampa.
Yeah, no, I mean, when it came down to that second contract, like it was not obvious, right? It was such a roller coaster ride here.
Yes.
So, I mean, you can tell, people can tell themselves all they want to in their heads that he didn't need to go somewhere else and mature and like get a fresh start somewhere and learn somewhere to become the quarterback he is today. People can tell themselves in their heads all they wanted to. It's true. It's true. He was not that here. He was not what he is today here. I'm sorry.
It's okay to say that. It's okay to say that.
And you know what? And you know what? And you know what? If Deshaun Watson was the top 4 quarterback that he was when he traded him here, nobody would be saying anything about Baker. Nobody in this town would be talking anything Baker Mayfield right now. People would say, "Oh, we liked Baker when he was here, but man, have you seen how Deshaun's playing?" That would be the conversation if Deshaun played like the quarterback he was on paper when we traded for him. But nope. Now that they're here, now that everything with Deshaun transpired the way it did, people are just going after the ex-girlfriend that they just miss so dearly. They just didn't know what they had when it was
Jesus.
Gone. That's it.
All right, off the NFL for a minute. I do want to talk about this for 1 second before we get out of here. College football coming up. Some crazy stories going on in college football. We don't have time to get to all of them. Clemson being terrible is hilarious to me.
Oh,
Florida State being really good is wild out of the blue to me. There's a lot of things. Georgia Tech being really good apparently is a great story. There's a lot of good stories, but I do want to talk about Ohio State. They had their bye week after kind of a tough game against OU that they wound up winning, but pretty handily, but still they had to fight for it. So Ohio State opens Big Ten play on Saturday in Joe's hometown now of Seattle, Washington, against a Washington Huskies team that has really had an impressive start to their season. 3-0 for Washington. Their quarterback has been really efficient, no interceptions, bunch of touchdowns. How about this kid, Jonah Coleman, their running back? 51 carries, 9 touchdowns through 3 games for Jonah Coleman. I don't know. And just kind of traditionally, Husky Stadium in Seattle is a tough place to play. The Ohio State Buckeyes, the number 1 team in the country, heading out to play Washington. Guys, Chad, started off.
Did you buy your ticket, Joe? Did you buy it live?
I was going to say, right? I am going to this game Saturday. It's gone down $80 since last week at this time. I'm going to ride it out a little longer, but I'll be going to this game. And it's,
you gotta go.
I don't understand why it's going down so much unless it's the number 1 team in the country.
You will. I'm telling you now that if you skip out on this, you will regret it forever.
All right. A ticket buying question for the pros here. Do I wait a little longer for that to go down, or is there going to be a spike come Friday for ticket prices?
I mean, depends on what app you're using, but yeah, I would buy it ASAP, man, before it gets.
I think I probably would too.
Out.
It was at $190. It's at $112 right now.
I would buy a ticket for $112. That is wild. That's wild.
Yeah. For the number 1 team in the country. Are you kidding me?
A game at
apparently there's you can take a boat taxi to go to the game. Like you can get on like my side of the lake over here, and you can take a boat taxi.
Man, I'm looking at a ticket right now. It's upper deck. It's up there, but it's $105.
On what?
Game time. You got to look at the game time app.
Oh, you got to put the fees in.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, you got to put the fees in.
But they do have a 109. Tick pick is great, man.
Tick pick with no fees.
Yeah, tick pick 109. You got to get it. You got to get it.
All right. I'm going to buy it. I need to peruse my options, but this will be bought. I will report back on my first ever college football game.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Find a friend to go sailgating, bro. Find a friend to go sailgating.
You
better do this, because I'm telling you. Hold on. I'm going to hook you up. I'm telling you, you will regret it forever if you.
I'm going.
To this game.
I'm going to this game.
Anyways, so did we Did we talk about what we think is going to happen? I can't even remember.
I don't
now.
know.
No, we could just end the show. No, no. Listen,
Big ultras.
Listen, I mean, Washington has had a great start to the season. You're right. Damon Williams, the quarterback for Washington, is completing like almost 74% of his passes. Right, he hasn't turned the ball over. And then you talked about Jonah Coleman, but a big credit goes to this offensive line. Right, through the first 3 games, they've only given up 6 sacks. That's it. 6 sacks so far through 3 games. So he doesn't get pressured much. He's able to sit back there and able to find his weapons. And Jonah Coleman is just a beast. The dude is a fucking 99 break tackle on NCAA football 26, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if you knew that. Well, will it translate to Saturday? No, I don't think so, because I think this Ohio State defense is going to be ready. They're going to be able to pin their ears back in the run blitz. Now, offensively, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. This is almost like the restart, right? It's almost like the beginning of a new season for
Yes.
Julian Sayin too, being his first road game, right? Being his first big time road game in college football. So, if it's anything like how he handled the Texas game at home, granted, this isn't nowhere near as big of a game as the Texas game was at home. And he already knows like how to handle noise, right? I mean, it's 105,000, 110,000 people in Ohio Stadium. So I think he's going to be all right with the way he was able to handle the pressure of that of his first college football game, in as big of a game as it was. I don't see it being any different, right? Do I think Washington's going to be pumped up in the first half, right? Yes. Yeah, I absolutely do. This game could very well be close. This game could very well be 7-0. Washington could very well be in the lead at the halftime in this football game. But I think eventually Ohio State's offense is going to settle down. I think the running between the 3-headed monster of running backs between James Peoples, Bo Jackson, and C.J. Donaldson, I think that's going to be able to settle down Julian. I think that he's going to be able to settle into a rhythm eventually, and hit Jeremiah over the top, hit Carnell over the top with some play action passing. I really think that Ohio State is eventually going to impose their will and pull away in this game. I'm going to say Ohio State 34, Washington 17, but I could see it being like 17-10 Washington or 17-13 Washington at the half. Very easily see that, because I could see Washington just coming out with their hair on fire.
I don't know much about college football and what Washington's done. I know that they've scored a lot of points against a lot of not really good teams. I know that we know enough about Texas to say like this could be a comparable team to Texas. I would kind of agree with your kind of line of thinking there, Chad. Like I feel like Ohio State's going to score somewhere in the 30s. We'll give them a nice crisp 35, because I hope to God Fielding doesn't have to go on that field and kick a field goal. And we'll give the Huskies, I'm going to give them 24-35.
I don't think Washington's defense has a prayer in hell. I think that's the thing we're not talking about. There's some playmakers on this Washington offense. I don't think they're going to be on the field a lot. I think Ohio State's offense is just going to ruin the Washington Huskies. I don't think their defense is any good whatsoever. And they haven't played anybody that's tested them. And then here comes Jeremiah Smith, and here comes Carnell Tate, and here comes Bo Jackson, and here comes the Ohio State offense. And I think they are going to roll Washington. I think Ohio State's putting up 56 in Washington. I think it's 56-17. Because I do think Washington does have some playmakers on offense that they'll get some points, but I think it's 56-17. I think this Ohio State offense is going to absolutely steamroll through a Washington defense that has not been tested even in the slightest to start this season.
Yeah,
that's
that very well could happen. I mean, that very well could happen. I don't know. I'm just hesitant to say that, but Julian Sayin through the first 3 games has been so poised. Yes. So accurate. But yeah, this is his like second big test of the season, going on the road, playing in a very, very hostile environment. So yeah, I could see them just as easily rolling Washington in a game like that. But yep, I'm choosing to go on the more conservative side of things, but 56-17 could very well happen as well.
Chad, real quick, because you're the biggest college person here. Just a couple other quick storylines
Sure.
from college before we get out of here.
Sure. Yeah. Oklahoma. I was in Norman last week working that Oklahoma Auburn game. What an atmosphere, by the way. First time ever there. Yeah. And you are not, when you text me those lyrics, that Oklahoma fight song, I haven't been able to get it out of my head for like the last 3 days. It's so dumb. It is beyond dumb.
Okay, you.
I'm sooner
worst
born,
fucking
I'm
fight
sooner
song.
bred, and when I die, I'll be sooner dead. Boom, sooner. Fuck you.
It's the worst song of all time.
Guys, before John Mateer got hurt, because apparently he's going to be out for the next 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, he's out.
I thought Oklahoma could very well win the SEC because that defense is nasty. That Oklahoma defense is real nasty.
Nasty.
And I'm still getting used to Oklahoma playing defense because in the Big 12 they did not play defense at all. So yeah, I think that I still think they can because they're back on Michael Jenkins. Look at that. Is a guy who has been in this offense for a while, and they're on a bye week this week, so I think he'll be ready to go. And not to mention, Oklahoma is home against LSU to end the season, so that's going to be such an interesting matchup. So I think that's one storyline I'm looking at. Penn State, who are they? Right?
Yeah.
Who are they? But this week they're going to get their first test against Oregon. They got to go out to Eugene, I believe, to play Oregon. So we're going to find out just how much Drew Aller, our boy Drew Aller, Mike, has matured. If he's able to win big games, right? If he's able to push the ball upfield, which I mean they have much better receivers this year. If he's able, I'm very interested to see how they do against their first true test of the season. LSU, honestly, I think is a fraud. I think is an absolute fraud. I just, their defense is great, but that offense, I don't know. Like Garrett Nussmeier, he's been okay. Like he's been fine, but there's nothing about this LSU offense that screams national championship to me. Dabo Swinney.
Yikes. And speaking of cringy coaches, how about Mike Gundy? Fired. See ya.
That is amazing. And just a day or two after, he's like, yeah, I'm 100% staying at Oklahoma State. Beyond this 1-2 start. I'm worried about it. No, bye. Clemson being 1-3 just warms the cockles of my heart. And it just,
gross.
Yeah, exactly. But then, I guess Dabo is my asshole of the week because right between you see his press conference, by the way,
I never
before
watch
this
a
week.
word that dude says. That guy sucks.
His press conference before this Syracuse game that they lost this week. He goes, yeah, if I start this way, if Clemson's tired of winning, they can get rid of me. And now, you know what? I'm going to go on. I'm going to coach somewhere else. And I'm only 55. I got a long way to go. I'm going to go on. I'm going to coach somewhere else, and I'm going to win there too. So if Clemson's tired of winning, they can get rid of me. Well, guess what? You're a fucking asshole. You look like an asshole because you lost to Syracuse this week too. So like this year's Clemson team feels like 2024 Florida State. Like they're just going to be terrible. Like they're just going to be bad.
Terrible.
Yeah, terrible. So that's that. I think that's really where that's really the major hits.
That's a good spot. All right, let's do our cheers of the week and get out of here, which I think we've already kind of done, right? Did we do cheers of the week?
Yeah, mine's that we didn't get raptured. So I'm so happy to be here with you guys still.
Fucking that. Joe, do you have any other cheers?
The Guardians, man.
Just the Guardians.
Just the Guardians.
How could that not be like the best part of your week is the way they're playing right now? Like that's just, I feel like a proud little dad.
On the verge of just history. And you know what? God, I hope they make something of it in the playoffs. And I hope it's not all for naught, but shit.
Wouldn't it just be like the craziest shit ever if this team, after how much we bitched about them not retooling in the offseason, somehow finds their way back to the ALCS again?
In the middle of August, StatCast gave them a 0.0 chance of making the playoffs. Then I want to say it was like September
10th
or something like that. 10th.
September 10th. I literally am just looking at the same tweet you were reading.
Gave them like a 1% chance, or not even like a 0.1% chance of making the playoffs.
September 10th?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like 2 weeks ago. And now the Cleveland Guardians are 1 game up on the Tigers with the tiebreaker. 4 games left. The
2% chance.
The Tigers have The Tigers have to be 2 full games better than the Guardians over the next 4 to reclaim the division. It's not out of the realm of possibility by any stretch, but I'll tell you what, if the Guardians pull off the sweep tomorrow, light it up. It's out of the realm of possibility.
Hell yeah.
1 more game against the Tigers, and this thing will pretty much be complete. Unbelievable. So I'm with you, Joe. Guardians get my cheers. All right, boys, that's going to do it for us tonight for episode 282. Had a great time. The comments were great. You guys were great. Let's give our thank yous out. First of all, big time thank you to the OBR for hosting us. Get over to theobr.com and hit subscribe to get into everything going on with the Cleveland Browns. And make sure you're hitting follow, subscribe, all that on YouTube, Twitch. Are you doing the magic number? Because I know the magic number is 3. Yep. You're doing the Guardians magic number, which is 3, which is amazing. Make sure you're tuned into everything OBR. Big shout out, big thank you to our special guest tonight, Steve Phillips from the MLB Network. What a time we had with Steve Phillips. Learned a lot, but also had a great time. He razzed us a bit too. He's comfortable on the show. Apparently, Steve's comfortable on the show.
I don't think enough credit has been paid. Cheer, you know what? Secondary cheers to Steve for bringing a Hofbrauhaus mug of vodka on the show.
What a champ.
Just absolutely 100%. If you're gonna go big, you go big.
Yeah.
And Steve Phillips goes big. He goes, don't judge me for my Bonilla contract. Judge me for my vodka mug.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Judge me for my beer stein full of fucking Kettle One.
Hell yes. No, Steve was great, and we really appreciate him coming on and just being a friend of the show. This is the 3rd time we've had him on, and just appreciate that we can send him a message, and he's like, yeah, I'll come on with you guys, which is awesome. Last thank you goes out to all of you, whether you joined us live here tonight on YouTube or Twitch or X or wherever, or remember, if you can't get us live, you can watch us on demand, or you can catch us on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, anywhere you get your podcast. We appreciate you. We love you. And we thank you for supporting the show. That's going to do it for episode 282. For Joey out in Seattle, for Chad over on the east side of Cleveland, I am Michael Keefe. Go follow the show at The Garage Beers on all the socials. Until next week for 283.